So, what do you do when it's raining, it's pouring, but you still need your plant fix? Well, I tell you what we're going to do. We are going to look at some houseplants. Hi friends, and thank you so much for joining me. I have a special treat for you today because what I had planned was to be outside in the garden, but the rain is absolutely pouring down at the moment, and it's not good for me, and it's definitely not good for the camera. And I already have a bit of a cold, so I thought, you know what? Let's actually listen to Mother Nature. Mother Nature is saying that today is not a day for a garden tour. Today is a day to share with your wonderful subscribers the houseplants. So I welcome the opportunity, and I don't think I would have been motivated to do that if all was well outside. So just as with life, sometimes you have to be able to adapt to the situation and make the most and make the best of what you've been dealt. So I made a promise to myself that this year in 2026, I would share at least one video with you all. And I'm not going to allow the rain to stop that. And I think actually, houseplants are really so beneficial, and I'm not sure why I haven't shared this with you before. I think especially during the winter times in a place like the UK, houseplants become so important. They give you that bit of greenery. I mean, they provide us with cleaner air and they oxygenate the place. What's not to love about a houseplant? But yet, especially for me, I think maybe the element of being outside always draws me to the back garden. And actually, most of these plants do spend their summers outside in the garden somewhere. But again, during the winter months, especially here in the UK, in places that have specific seasons and definitely get colder in our winter seasons, houseplants are unbeatable, and I hope that you can share in the joy that I feel while I share some of these lovelies with you. Now, this is a spur of the moment video, so things have not been curated in any particular way for it to make sense to you. In fact, I don't even really know most of the botanical names of these plants. I have just over the years collected what I like, what looks pleasing to my eye, and then it's very much a matter of what survives with the type of care that I provide it. Of course, I've lost many houseplants over the years, but I think in all, more than the ones that have gone away, there's been many more that have lived and have thrived and are looking their best, or looking much better than they did when they came into this house. So I'm really happy about that. I don't know all of the botanical names for the majority of these houseplants, so we will learn and figure them out as we go along. And actually, some of them I don't know the common name either. I just know pretty plants, pretty plants. I want this one. Okay, so you see here, I have a list. I've written a list of the plants that I've collected around the house today. And there's a couple of others that I'll bring over as we get there. But this is to try and keep me on some type of track, because again, I'm much better at the botanical names of the outdoor plants. I mean, of course, these are all outdoor plants in their native environments, but in the UK, they don't survive our winters. So they can be outside in the summertime. So anytime from, say, maybe May through to September, most of them can be outside. But that's it. They would not survive a winter in this country. And actually, as we're saying that, that leads me to the one I will introduce to you first. This is a coleus. So it's not looking amazing right now because this is a plant that I specifically like for outside. And when it gets the sun, you can see the leaves here. They have all of these different colors, and they turn, actually, even from just the red, they have more of an orangey tint to them. Inside, they've gone very, very green. But I just wanted to experiment. I've never kept a coleus alive during the winter before, but I really love this variety so much that I wanted to see if I could keep it alive during the winter, and then it will just be more substantial when I use it in my flower displays in the upcoming season. So far so good. This is not about it being beautiful as such inside. This is about me keeping it alive. And it doesn't look as excellent as a house plant as it does outdoors, because again, like I said, the leaf color is very green as a house plant, but when it gets the direct sunshine, you get a kaleidoscope of colors. Okay, so let's talk about this gorgeous thing that's right in front of me. This is a Calathea. In fact, this is a Calathea orbifolia. That's what that is, a Calathea orbifolia. Now, I just love how this has the silvery variegation, the silvery stripes to it, and the leaves are very, very, very broad. It doesn't like a lot of direct sun. It doesn't like direct sunshine. It likes indirect light all day. And as you can see underneath, they're much glossier. So possibly if I dusted these leaves, they would be as glossy as the one underneath. But as you can see here, it's this must be a combination of slightly underwatering and a little bit too much direct sun. The thing is, I reduce my watering drastically during the winter because I don't want my plants to suffer from root rot, which is very easy to do, especially in a household that uses central heating and that kind of thing. So I'm very, very wary of wary of watering the plants during the winter months. But perhaps this one could have done with a touch more water. So again, this is a Calathea orbifolia. Absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful. I mean, it can't be that unhappy because we have tons of new leaves growing through here. I hope you can see that. There we go. Okay, so this is an Anthurium, also known as the flamingo flower. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of the names that I'm saying to you guys, I'm going to put them along the bottom of the screen as we go through these videos, because I can't be sure that I'm even pronouncing these things correctly. And I do want you to be able to recognize what plants they are. So this is an Anthurium, and it's also known as a flamingo flower. And what it does is, as these they look like leaves, but I would call them the flowers. They go more and more pink as they mature, as you can see on this one here. But this might be the flower bit here, this hard part. This might actually be the flower. I'm not 100% sure about the anatomy of this plant. We will have to investigate. But I think it's a beauty. It could definitely do with some more support. Oh, you can see there's some new ones growing just here. I don't know if you can see that. But it's a lovely plant. Lovely plant. Lots of glossy leaves. And then in the growing season, you get the pink throats that come out to give it that bit of color in the house, which is very beneficial because most of the houseplants that we have in the UK don't flower, and if they are flowering plants, then they don't necessarily flower in our homes because they don't have the correct condition to for them to produce flowers. So this is one of those that it actually does do that, and there's the evidence of it coming through now. This beautiful pink throat, absolutely lovely. Flamingo flower. So this is just this is a succulent. Now succulents need next to no type of care from you, and this one in particular is Echeveria lilancina. Echeveria lilancina. Now, I don't know if that's the right way to pronounce it, but it's a lovely, lovely, lovely thing. And it almost, the way that it's configured, it looks like a flower already. I think it's beautiful. Okay. Now this lovely thing absolutely thrives being outside. And you can see the difference in it when you have to bring it inside for those few months, that although she's alive, is definitely not as bountiful as when she has those few months outside. This is a Boston fern, and they like moist conditions. Definitely don't let these dry out, in my experience. Again, I'm not a houseplant I'm not a houseplant guru. I am literally just telling you what my experience has been growing these things. So my Boston fern absolutely loves being outside in a somewhat shady condition. But where I keep her at home is this plant lives in the bathroom where it has all of that moisture in that area, and I water it way more frequently during the winter months than any of the other plants that you will see here today. But she's still looking good for Boston fern. Now, I don't know the name of this. I'm thinking this is a jade plant. I think so. It's definitely a succulent, but I think it's a jade. I'm not 100% sure. Now, this one's looking terrible because this one has been this one's been in my son's room where it hasn't been looked after at all. The soil is bone dry, and only a plant like this would be able to survive in an environment like that, let me tell you. So when we finished here, I'm going to give them all a bit of a spa day. We're going to sort the leaves out, give them a nice watering, and probably a little bit of a feed, because they haven't had anything, any extra food or anything like that since, I believe, October, possibly September for a lot of them. So we're going to do that. But this is the perfect example. This is a jade plant, and it's still alive. But when I tell you that this soil is totally dry, like completely dry, it's completely dry. So here we go. This is one of those plants that thrives being outside than it ever will being on the inside. But what it does that most houseplants that I have anyway doesn't do is it brings some fragrance into the house. So yes, during the winter months, I do plant bulbs such as my hyacinths that bring a fragrance through the house during those winter months, so like December, January, and February, depending on when you plant your bulbs. But the jasmine, this is Jasminum polyanthum, I do believe, gives you that very delicate blossoms, and it gives you a fragrance as well. So here, this lovely thing, this is, do you know what this is? This is a peace lily. So I thought this is a good one for me to show to you, because I have this one that I've grown from a rescue. This was looking terrible this time last year, and I thought I lost it several times, and you know, it's been cut back and back and back and back and back. But finally, over the last month or so, I feel like the roots are finally settled in, and she's getting the kind of attention and love that is that she desires. But the reason I'm showing this one to you, which is, you know, it's not looking very spectacular. The thing about peace lilies that do make them spectacular, this plant isn't really showing any of that at the moment, because it doesn't have any of its blooms. The leaves are kind of tiny. It's looking kind of insignificant. But guess what? With time, with patience, and with a lot of love, this peace lily will go from this, which is still a lovely houseplant. I mean, what's not to like? But it goes from this into this. This is also a peace lily. It's the same exact kind of a plant, but you wouldn't know because it looks so very different. This is the baby version. And this is all of its glory. And now it looks so amazing, although it doesn't have any of its white flowers on it at the moment. But it's still just a staggeringly beautiful plant, I think. It doesn't like direct sunshine or direct light. It does very well in a more shady part of your home, which for a UK household is very important, because we don't all have window spaces to be putting every plant right by a window. So this is one that does excellently not being right by a window. And in fact, it thrives without having lots of direct sunlight. And I love it. And when it does push out some of those white flowers, it's spectacular. This is a really easy care plant. All it needs is, it's one of those plants as well that does not like to dry out. That's what I found with it. It likes consistent moisture, not waterlogged by any stretch of the imagination, but definitely consistent moisture and indirect light. It does well in the shade. But yeah, I think that's fantastic. Look at the difference. So, like I said, a pound, or it was £1.50, because it was almost dead, and over the last 8 months I've cut it back and cut it back and cut it back and loved it, and the hopes are that it will eventually start looking like this gorgeous thing over here, which has been in the house much longer. But peace lilies are excellent plants. They give so much more than the care that they take. Okay, so talking about plants that are really easy to care for, and I have to introduce you to, well, it's probably not an introduction. Ooh, we are a bit tangled up back here. There we go. To the ZZ plant. Now, this is a plant that thrives on absolute neglect. The thing about it is, when I first got this, I almost killed it several times, because even although I've read and I understood that it likes to have a pretty dry soil, and one of the ways that people tend to kill them is by overwatering, which is like overloving them. And I was set up to, I'm definitely not going to do that, because it looks just such, I mean, for such an easy plant, it's gorgeous. The leaves are super glossy. It has a really interesting leaf shape, and the way that it grows, like as you see with the stems, how they're thick and then they narrow as they go up where the leaves are, I think it's just really interesting. It's a really beautiful plant. So although I understood, or I thought I understood that, oh, this is a plant that thrives on neglect, I almost killed it several times, because even though I tried to not water it very much, I was still watering it too much. So I just started to do nothing with it. I've put it in the worst place possible, where it gets very, 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 very poor light. And I water it very, very little. Like even if you feel the weight of this container now, it's super light. I think it wouldn't go amiss to have a watering today, which I will when I take care of all the other plants. But like I said, any other plant, if I lifted it and it felt like this, I would run to get her watered. But this plant, look at how gorgeous it is. I can't tell you the last time that I've looked at it more than in passing. And I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the name of it. We'll put that on the screen for you. But it's known as a ZZ plant. This is one of my favorites, my prized possessions. And we're talking about easy house plants. So this is, let me get myself situated. This is mother-in-law's tongue, a snake plant, also known as, I wrote this down, this is a Sansevieria This is a Sansevieria trifasciata laurenatii. Okay. The easy way of saying it is it's a snake plant, or mother-in-law's tongue. And this is another super duper duper easy plant to take care of. This plant, in my experience, I've seen other places that they say that it doesn't really need a lot of sunlight, but I couldn't disagree with that more. That this likes hot, direct sunlight all day. It's fine with it. Very little water. Wait until it's like bone dry between watering and it does fine. This plant has grown and grown and grown. And I keep this one right by the window and it's doing really fantastically. So I would recommend a Sansevieria or a mother-in-law's tongue for low maintenance house plants. Oh, I think we've just discovered what the name of today's video is going to be. It has to be low maintenance houseplants, because all of these, in my experience, are low maintenance and they still manage to look pretty darn good, even though I don't have any grow lights. I don't have all of the contraptions and clay trays for them to have the humidity and all of that. This is just bog standard normal house with no extra anything. I do the best I can by putting them into some kind of an area of the house that I think they will like, and that's it. Possibly as I get more into them, I might try implementing some of these other things that will help them to grow more. But currently, over the past few years, I haven't done that, and I'm very happy with what I have. So this is this is a bird of paradise. Is there a? No, I don't have a botanical name for it. But this is a bird of paradise, and it's going from strength to strength. Now this is one of the ones that possibly isn't so easy to take care of in my experience, because it doesn't like to be moved. It kind of likes when if you get it in a spot that it likes, keep it there, and that's it. And that's like a partial shady spot. As you can see here, it's possibly didn't have enough water, and it had too much sun. I'm not really sure, but you can see, for me, when I see the leaves are a bit floppy, like this one is, I think this plant could do with some watering. And the top of this soil is quite dry. But again, like I told you earlier, I'm very reluctant to water too often in the winter months, because I definitely know that we lose most of our house plants by overloving them and they succumb to root rot. So always better to be a little bit on the dry side than on the saturated side. And that's for me, because obviously, you know, like I said, I have lots of other things that need my time and attention. So I don't necessarily have the capacity to stay on top of what my plants need all the time. So what works for me is that I err on the side of it better to be dry than to be wet, because I find for me, for my household, it's easier to help them out if I've let them get a bit too dry, rather than if they been saturated and the roots have rotted, then there's no saving them by the time I've noticed that happening. This is another one of those things where it's like, I'm telling you, this plant is super duper easy to take care of. What is this one called? This is a dragon tree. That's what it is. Now there's different types of varieties and stuff like that, but as far as I know, this is just the dragon tree. I don't know what particular cultivar or variety it is, but I definitely do know that it's super duper easy to take care of, you know, and it's very forgiving, extremely forgiving, and it needs like low to medium light. It can take a lot of direct sunlight, and it's also quite drought tolerant. As I found, it's quite drought tolerant. But as you can see, the texture of it is a very playful plant. It's soft. You know, sometimes when you see leaves like this, you might think that they're a bit sharp or something like that. But no, it's a very touchy-feely, loving, giving plant, and I adore it. And like I said before, I don't really know the names of everything, but I just love the beauty of them, and I love what they bring into my life and what they bring into the house. And this is one of them. This has been in my home for a very long time. I've almost lost it several times for different reasons, but she lives. A dragon tree. Beautiful, I think. Okay, so this is a Dracania warneckii. Dracania warneckii. Now, what I love about this plant is the variegation on it. I love a variegation. Just as the same as I am outside is the same as I am inside. I do love a variegated leaf. But this is, as you can see, it's very similar to the last plant that we saw. So a dragon tree, the same kind of stem, the same shape, very similar leaves. So you can see it's from the same genus. It's the same kind of plant, but this one gives us a little bit of a different interest with the variegated leaves. And I absolutely adore it. I think it's lovely. Now, one thing to keep in mind is usually when a plant has variegated leaves, it actually takes, when a plant has variegated leaves, they like a little less sunshine than the pure green leaves. Okay, so this one, although it's a dragon tree, will like less light than the one we saw just before. And keeping that theme going, here is another one. So this one's called a Dracenia fragrans, and the variety, or the cultivar, is called lemon and lime. So again, this one's going to need less sun than the first dragon tree we saw, but more sun than the more white variegation. As although there is a variegation here, it's still in the green spectrum. There's just a lighter green and a darker green. And this one again is called lemon and lime. It's beautiful. Oh, I have, I was going to show this one to you, but we'll leave that one till last, because actually I didn't realize it until today that I have 3 Monstera plants in my house. Not the same ones, but I'll show them to you in just a second. All right, so this beauty is called this is a blue star fern, okay? Now, isn't this gorgeous? And I just adore this plant. The foliage on it is spectacular. Now, this does not like direct sun, and you can see why it's called a blue star fern. because of that blue. You can see that blue undertone in the foliage. I think it's just spectacular, absolutely beautiful. And again, like I say, I'm so surprised at all the different type of colors that you can bring in to your home just with foliage. You don't need to worry about things blooming when you have all of these wonderful hues of green. And this blue star fern is the perfect example of that, where the foliage is just so interesting. Even without the color, just the shape of the leaves are so interesting. But then that blue undertone just takes it to another level. It's just gorgeous. So here is my Chinese money plant. Oh, I know it looks very sad, but let me tell you something. I have been fighting to get this plant to where it is. It's dropped so many leaves and I panicked. I didn't know what was going on with it. And I'm hoping that my approach to all of these problems with houseplants is to just leave them, leave them alone and interfere with them as minimally as possible. And usually they seem to pull through. So that's what I've been doing with this plant. And, you know, at first, the only thing I can hope for is to say it's alive. It hasn't died on me, so there's still a chance for redemption. There's something going on under the surface, and hopefully it will look beautiful and bountiful in the weeks and months to come. And here there is a trailing jade. And again, this is one of the plants that I've almost killed because of my eagerness to care for it. It looked magnificent last year and I repotted it into a much bigger pot than this. But unfortunately, it did not need to be repotted and it started dropping leaves crazy. And when I noticed, I didn't know what the problem was at first until it had whittled its way down to just these few twigs, these few stems, and I was forced to look at what was going on under the soil. And from my investigations, I think I'd put it into too big of a pot, which meant that the water was being held in the soil for longer than was useful and usable to the plant. And then what happens there is the inevitable rotting of the roots. So it looks as if I've saved it. I've put it in a teeny tiny pot. Compared to the size of what the roots were, it's just a very small pot. And it stopped dropping leaves, and hopefully in the next growing season when I bring it outside, it will really benefit from that. So over here, in one of the darkest, shadiest parts of my house is this Pothos. And I put it here because it just grows so fast. And I thought, if I'm able to control it, size control it, by giving it less than optimum positioning in the house, then that would be my, because I do love it. It's just, you know, there's only but so much room in my house. And it was going gangbusters. It was going crazy. But what I found that I actually do really enjoy about having it in this corner is the fact that it seems to have started to get some variegation on the leaves. Like when it was in more direct sun, it didn't do this. And obviously this is a lack of its ability to photosynthesize, and because it's in this area, the plant is naturally doing this. Now, I didn't buy it as a variegated anything. It's just naturally started to do this since I put it in this darker area. But I really like it. I really enjoy the variegation on the leaves. So I'm thinking this is possibly a great place for this plant. You know, it's still growing, it's still thriving. It's giving me that variegation that I enjoy so much, and it's also bringing in that green into a very dark part of the house. What's not to love? So here we have my classic Christmas cactus, and there are these are a pink flowering variety. Now they've already given us so many blooms over the Christmas period, but there's some little buds happening here, so hopefully I might get a few more flowers before the end of the season. Again, it's one of those flowers that, or one of those plants I should say, that doesn't look all that amazing during the majority of the season, but when you need that that little hit around the December time, here she comes, just looking floriferous and absolutely gorgeous. So I did say to you that we have 3 different Monsteras in this house. So the first of those beauties is this one. This is the Monstera monkey leaf. And the beauty of this plant is obviously the leaves. Like on a Monstera deliciosa, the leaves open up whole and they get their splits as they mature. But this one, they start out like this. And it's much more of a vining plant than the other Monsteras. So as you can see, she's growing, and hopefully she will be around the fireplace in no time. Another very easygoing plant. It doesn't like too much direct sunlight, but it doesn't take very much care at all. A really good one. This is the Monstera Thai Constellation, and this is the one that comes out with a beautiful variegated leaf, but it's not just patches. There's variegation throughout the leaf, which gives it this one you can really see, gives it its name, as there's it looks like the stars. So Monstera Thai Constellation, absolutely gorgeous, and I love it. I love this plant. So here is the plant that has been with me the longest. This beauty is my Monstera delicioso, and she's absolutely gorgeous, don't you think? The only thing that I could add with this plant is I possibly need a bigger thing for it to climb, because in their native they do climb other trees. So this is very small, and I think it could benefit from having something more substantial to climb and to put those aerial roots into, and it will just do better and better. So that's a project that I definitely need to get onto in the spring, when I give the plants a good looking over, look at their roots to see if they need to be potted up or if they're good in the containers that they're in. And I will say this though, for houseplants, don't be so quick to pot them up, because oftentimes you see that the roots are quite substantial in the containers that they're in, and of course, because you want to be a good plant mama, you think, I don't want the roots to be restricted at all, so I'm going to pot it up. But actually, unless or until the roots are bursting out of the pot or the container that they are in, I would advise that you keep them in their containers for as long as possible. That's been my experience anyway, that in my eagerness to pot them on, thinking that I'm giving them more room for the roots to grow, it actually puts them into some type of a stress, and the moisture of the soil in the bigger container is not being taken up as quickly as I would like, or as the plant needs, and so therefore they stay in a more wet soil for a longer period of time, which inevitably, let's say it together, leads to root rot. And that is the death of most houseplants, because we love them to death. So yeah, I think this needs something to climb, and I love this position right here in the corner. Just going to take over this whole area, which I love. And it gives you that jungly feel, don't you think? I think having like huge houseplants just brings that outside in the most beautiful way. This is another Pothos. Now, I can see by looking at these leaves that this plant needs watering. But it's been in a very, very shady part of the house. And again, I don't water very often in the wintertime, purposefully so. But this plant, I can see the way that the leaves are curling like that, that it needs a bit of watering, and you can feel that it needs watering. But I love it. It's got like a velvety texture to the leaves, which is different to the Pothos that we saw a minute ago. I hope that's, you can see that. I hope you can see that variegation there. But it's a beautiful, beautiful plant, and it does so well in a very minimum light condition in this house. And this beauty, we will finish off with another really low maintenance plant. This is my string of hearts. Now, what to do? She's getting super, super duper long, and I know that I need to sort this out. I'm not really sure the best way to go about it, whether it would be best to propagate some of it to make it a little bit more floriferous or a bit more substantial right from in the base here, and not so much of it the growth around here. But isn't it lovely? I think it's super gorgeous. And of course, the reason it's called String of Hearts is because, well, it's the stringy aspect of it, of course, but can you see that the leaves are very heart-shaped leaves. This stays in a window part of the house, but it doesn't get very much direct sunlight throughout the day, and it seems to really like its position, and it's grown and grown and grown. It's all about, and I just leave it. I don't do anything really with it other than keeping it watered and trying to keep the kids away from it, because it's quite a delicate plant, and if it gets knocked about too much, then of course you're going to lose the stringy effect. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope very much that you've enjoyed spending this time with me and having a little look at the plants and the greenery that keeps me going when outside is not an option. I do believe that every single person would benefit from having at least one house plant in their homes, but do be warned that usually if you get one that's easy to maintain, as the plants that I've showed you today are, then you're probably going to get two. And then two leads to three, and you see where this is going. They bring me so much joy, and I now can't imagine having a home without any houseplants in it, which is a very different story to how it was like 10 years ago or so. Again, I don't do anything special with these plants. I don't have any grow lights. I don't have any humidity or humidifiers or anything like that. They're just in my normal home environment. They have central heating because I live here in the UK. So during the winter months, they absolutely have to live in a home that has central heating. I may go around and spray them from time to time if I remember, but it's definitely not a part of my routine. And they still manage to live, they still manage to thrive, they still manage to look amazing with very, very little effort from me. And they give myself and my family so much joy. Plus, let's not forget that they clean the air. And what is better than that? They actually help us to breathe cleaner air. That's amazing. I always want to remind you, although this has been a video about plants, about house plants specifically, that this channel is about bliss in bipolar. And the reason that I named it that is because this is about my idea, my version of bliss, and how I've created that for myself in my bipolar disorder. And I'm so glad actually that today it rained and I wasn't able to do the garden tour that I had in mind, because it's afforded me the opportunity to show you around my houseplants, which they are such a significant part of how I have managed to build bliss in my bipolar disorder. Because before I was able to go outside and create anything out there, I had my Monstera delicioso, which has helped me over the last 5 years, and shown me that I am purposeful, I am useful, and with a little bit of care, the magic that can happen for not just me, but for all of you. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I want you to take great care of yourself. And I hope that if you feel inspired, you will like this video, and even better, subscribe to this channel, because I want you very much to be a part of my journey as I share with you how I've managed to build bliss in my bipolar disorder. And I welcome you to share this video with anyone that you think may benefit from spending some time with me, whether that be the core message of building bliss in real life with bipolar disorder, or if they just enjoy seeing and hearing and learning about plants, then this is a perfect place for them to be. And I, again, would welcome you to share that with them. And as for today, that's it. And I will see you very, very soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.